episode of 12 Bar News. With me, as always, is Badger. What's going on, Boop? Yo! Bullwinkle.
Hey.
And Darsh.
What up, what up?
He was MIA last week because he was doing big boy things.
Oh, yeah. I had a business conference in the Big Apple.
Oh, New York City. I'm awesome. I'm Darsh.
It was actually awful, but
I figured.
Yeah.
Bunch of suits.
Yeah.
Fuck them. Anyways, we're going to jump right into the news segment, which we like to call
What's Happening?
Badger, I'm pretty sure you have a What's Happening.
So, yeah, I was going to talk about Coachella. So,
Ugh.
yeah, Coachella is what it is. It's a music arts festival out in California, and it has like a huge amount of artists, and it's like, isn't it 2 weeks or something? I don't know. But some notable people played and had some really good positive sets, like Childish Gambino's. I heard that was a crazy set. He called out a lot of people for just looking at their phones the whole time. He's took them to church, and then he proceeded to smoke it out afterwards with them.
Very nice.
Yeah. And I heard Weezer had a good set. He brought up members of TLC and Tears for Fears for covers of their songs No Scrubs and Everybody Wants to Rule the World. And I don't know if you guys heard that Teal album, but those were some pretty cool covers. I mean, I'm not a huge Weezer fan after like the Green album. But
you know, I've been listening to the White album that they came out with a few years back, and it's really good. You should listen to it.
I'll check it out.
I recommend it.
They had a handful of albums there where I just couldn't be bothered.
Beverly Hills.
Yeah, like that whole
the Red album.
Yeah, just awful.
Yeah,
but,
that Red album.
The White album is really good, and the cover album, the Teal album, is really good. They made some bold choices.
Yeah,
on,
that No Scrubs. I thought it was a joke, but they did like good service to it. I don't
Definitely.
know. Bullwinkle, did you check that out?
No, I haven't had a chance yet.
Yeah, check it out. It's good.
I'd say they were mostly successful. I don't know if they were successful in every cover, but I think in general it was a good project.
Darsh is a big fan of that Toto song.
Yeah.
Sure. Do you have any more? What's happening over there?
Yeah, and so Tame Impala had a great set, I heard. I didn't actually hear it. And then Anderson .Paak and the Free Nationals had a set as well. So, along with
Anderson .Paak probably killed it, considering he just released a new album.
Yeah. Both Childish Gambino and Tame Impala were headlining acts, along with Ariana Grande.
With NSYNC. I heard she brought out NSYNC.
Yeah, she brought out a few people.
Yeah.
But I have a couple What's Happening. This one's kind of funny. Jay Massis from Dinosaur Jr. Actually rescheduled a concert to go see Neil Young.
Yeah, I saw that.
He's just like, you guys come a different time. I got something to do. I thought that was amusing. And it goes to show you that even, musicians, we like seeing other musicians play, especially legends, a la Neil Young. What else do I have? Schoolboy Q has released a new album, Crash Talk. It should be out later this month, and that's going to be a really good album. Definitely give that a listen. And then Beck has also announced a new album, Hyperspace. And the first single is called Saul Lightning. Pharrell Williams as producer, so probably decent. I'm not a huge Pharrell Williams fan ever since he left NERD, but yeah.
I mean, as a producer, he's got chops.
Yeah, he definitely knows what he's doing. So it should be good, and it's Beck. Like, it's going to be decent.
It's a recipe for something good. We'll see.
Exactly.
We'll have to hear what Kanye has to say about it when he beats Beyonce.
And then in concert news, this is a concert I definitely want to go. I would love to go see. But it's going to mostly be on the West Coast, it looks like, or almost completely on the West Coast. Some in No, they're coming out this way. Asbury Park, in Jersey. Badger, we should go see this because it is
Yeah.
Ben Folds and Cake
Ooh,
co-headlining summer tour. It's going to be dope.
I'm a big Cake fan, and I
know
recently
you are.
discovered some Ben Folds for a project for school.
Ben
And,
Folds is supremely talented.
Yeah, I used it as a reference material for the song I'm mixing, so I've had it like really stuck in my head. I know it's like his big hit, but yeah,
What, rock in the suburbs?
no,
No,
I haven't thought about Ben Folds in so long.
is it
Yeah,
like
it's-
called Brick or something like that?
I don't know. Maybe. What else do I have? Oh, this one actually ties into something that's going to
Yeah,
be
Brick.
discussed later. So I'm not going to talk about this right now. So that I think if
That's
nobody else
cryptic.
has any more, what's
Uh,
happening?
I did hear that Morrissey had to cancel some tour dates.
Like
in-
129 of them, I think, since 2012.
No, I mean because he had to cancel a tour date in Vancouver, because he was hospitalized.
Ooh,
And he was hospitalized due to complications from an injury that he sustained when he was in the UK. But everything on his social media accounts claims that he's going to be fine. But I get nervous when aging rockers get hospitalized.
yeah. All of a
Morrissey,
sudden you'll have a Tom Petty situation on your hand.
Right.
Morrissey, who has canceled 27 concerts since 2012, has canceled again. That's the headline.
I mean, he is famous for doing that, amongst other
mean-
things.
He's a human being.
Yeah.
I mean, it does suck for the
Has that
fans that
been
want
tested?
to go see him. But I don't know. Maybe they can do that while he's in.
They should definitely test him. Anyway, we are going to be moving on to the meat and potatoes, if
Impossible meat.
you will. Impossible meat because of the veg of this podcast. And we will be discussing first Record Store Day, which just passed. What was it, the 12th or the 13th?
Saturday.
So I have never been 100% clear on what Record Store Day is. I know that like a bunch of bands or artists come out with special pressings specifically for Record Store Day, but is it just like is it like a Black Friday for records, or what is it?
It's meant to support the local record stores, and so yeah, a bunch of artists work together, and they all release records that are only available at record stores. And some of them are really weird. Some of them are box sets, but it's good for the artist and it's good for the record stores themselves, because if you buy an actual hard copy of music, the artist gets a good percentage of that normally. Where like streaming and LimeWire, because this is in the early 2000s. This is time traveling Badger here, but no, we those, they get pennies or fractions of pennies compared to dollars and cents.
Right. Yeah.
Does that
but I know what you're talking about. Yeah. For each stream, they get like a percentage, a very small percentage.
right 0.03 I think it was.
Yeah, it's something crazy, and definitely disproportionate to what it should be. But we are going to talk about some of the notable releases for each of us, because there was new music released on Record Store Day, as well as like Badger was saying, box sets and
Re-releases,
and things
special
like that.
releases.
So Badger, I know you have a lot of things that you wanted to talk about for this. So why don't you start us off with some of your favorite?
Hold on
Sure.
a sec.
Hmm?
I'm sniffing markers. Continue.
Good use of your time. So Bob Dylan re-released the original New York test pressings of Blood on the Tracks, and I did take a peep at that on a streaming source, so he got my 0.03 cents. And I had to work, so unfortunately I wasn't able to go out. And I'm broke because I had to work, so unfortunately I couldn't pay for it. But there was a bunch of other cool ones. Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young. They released an expanded edition of Four Way Street, and it's 3 LPs, so it's a big set.
Definitely worth it.
Yep. And then Jack White, he's a big supporter of the record industry, like actual vinyls. And he is a big proponent of Record Store Day. So he comes out with the 3-inch vinyl. They used to have them, but nobody uses them anymore. So he sells the 3-inch vinyl. He did this a couple years ago, but again this year. And then so he released the White Stripes Candy Cane Child on 3-inch. Along with the Raconteurs, Store Bought Bones, Love Interruption by Jack White, and then also Rancid released Ruby Soho on 3-inch. So I
love
have
that
never
song.
used those. Yeah, they're good songs. All of them are good songs. So
Yeah.
it makes me a little bit tempted to buy that 3-inch, but again, I'm broke. So pay us on Patreon or just send cash in the mail.
Very
no
subtle.
envelope. Just post-it note saying Badger.
Help fund Jeff's 3-inch.
My name's not Jeff.
Any other things that released that you really liked there?
Yeah, so Louis Armstrong, or it was released for Louis Armstrong, was Disney Songs, The Satchmo Way, which I'm gonna have to check out. And
Definitely.
Then
that sounds awesome.
Yeah. Quickly, a couple others that I haven't checked out yet were Elvis Costello and the Imposters released the Purse EP. Ben Gibbard released the 7-inch of Mia and Magdalena. The Grateful Dead and Jerry Garcia with his various bands released like 6 or 7 albums out on that day.
Of course.
Modest Mouse released Poison in the Well, the single, and they're going to have a new album coming up, so I'm really excited about that. Weezer released that Teal album on vinyl. And then lastly, Sublime released Nugs, the best of the box. So that's just like a greatest hits LP of their finest work.
Right. Yeah, that is, and that is only literally scratching the surface for it. I mean, Anderson .Paak released a 7-inch. Badfinger released 2 LPs. I know that this is a big one for me. The Flaming Lips, they're coming out with a new album very soon, and they actually released on Record Store Day. I don't know how many they released, but their new album's called King's Mouth, so it's a limited pressing of vinyls, and it's not due out for like a little while still. So some lucky fans got their hands on probably what's going to be a great album, as the Flaming Lips usually just put out good music.
As long as Miley Cyrus isn't involved.
Yeah, it's I mean, they're weirdos. I love them, and they can do whatever they want. But some other ones came out. Herbie Hancock released an album at 72, I think he is. Still making baller music. It's really good. I only got to listen to a few tracks, but they were fantastic.
And then there's check out that tour.
Oh yeah, the tour that he's going on. I can't remember.
Flashback from last week's episode. Check it out.
Yeah. And then
the one that's posted.
Yeah, the one that's posted
on
our
time.
Social media.
We're not a good band, but we're a punctual band. Punctuation.
Something like that.
We're not good at grammar. That was the quote from Puppy Grease. It got cut out.
Another new album that came out that I've only listened to a few songs, but it's really good. And one of the people involved really caught my eye, and that's why I was willing to check it out. And that was LSD, which is Labyrinth, Sia, and Diplo released an album together. It's called LSD because drugs.
Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds.
I hate you. And then I've listened to a few songs off the album. Audio is a very good song. Thunderclouds is pretty good song, standard. electronica, and it's good. Definitely worth listening to. Diplo shows up in a big way. I've always loved Diplo's music. I really, really loved Diplo when Darsh and I saw him at Bonnaroo.
Mhm.
This is like in ancient times.
2012.
Oh, so long ago. But yeah, those are some of my notable.
Is that when the
releases for
world
Record Store
ends?
Day. It is when the world ended. Oh,
Yeah,
also some David Bowie stuff got released.
This is a post-world society we're living in.
It is.
Post everything.
Yep.
Post Malone.
Post Malone.
Oh, good. I'm glad we're past that phase.
Thank Jesus.
It's
Although
a lot of posty hate.
I don't know. He's pretty good when it comes to playing the.
yeah, he has more face tattoos than I do, though. So I'm kind of have a beef going.
He has infinitely more face tattoos than you do.
Yeah. Yep. That is
And
true.
then, does anybody else have any releases that came out on Record Store Day that they want to talk about? Awesome.
Yeah, I forgot about Record Store Day, so I got nothing.
I didn't even know what it was. So, yeah.
We have notes posted for you to read.
Yeah, they're
and-
posted for a reason.
And research may be required prior to podcast day.
I will learn to read at some point.
Also, I forgot about one more release that is of some significance. Is the Black Parade is Dead from My Chemical Romance. Their live recording got released. I forgot about that one.
Yeah, I did hear about that.
It's probably fantastic, to be honest.
I mean, the Black Parade is fantastic. I can't imagine why the live version wouldn't be.
Exactly. So we are going to move on to a new segment. I don't know if we have any cues or anything for it, but it is.
Should we try for some?
We can try.
Okay.
It is.
Going to the store. I'll be right back. Oh, I got it. It is new releases and series of unfortunate discoveries. I did that wrong. Hold on.
Oh well.
It's new discoveries and a series of unfortunate releases. That was perfect.
You almost did it right.
Perfect.
Anyway, I know that we have a couple things to talk about with that for sure.
For sure.
Badger, why don't you start us off?
Okay. Putting me on the spot here. So my new discovery is the 1983 album by Bob Dylan. It's obviously just new to me, but I'm a big Dylan fan, so it was kind of a cool discovery. It was Infidels by Bob Dylan. So this was his 22nd studio album, and it was the first one after his whole religious born again phase. And this one is not religious. It's a good folk rock songs with like a full backing band, and it has some really cool songs on it, like Joker Man and Union Sundown and Neighborhood Bully. And the rhythm section was Sly and Robbie, which are famed reggae producers and drummers and bassists. So they have like a kind of more 80s reggae feel to it. And it's just a really cool album. So check it out.
All right.
Bob Dylan is about to turn 78 years old.
My God.
Yep. Wow. He was so much older than then. He's younger than that now.
I guess. And I'm pretty sure, Bullwinkle, you have a new discovery, correct?
I do. So my new discovery is the artist Khalid. I don't listen too much to R&B music, but this one kind of caught my ear. It came across my Amazon Music app. So I decided to give it a listen. And it's actually really good. He has a couple albums out already. He's been active since 2017. I haven't listened to his first one called American Teen yet. And doing the little research I did for the podcast, it sounds like it's a less developed Free Spirit, which is his album that came out earlier this month. He's got a number of nominations, accolades. He was nominated for a number of Grammy Awards, and Billboard Music has acknowledged him for a few different things. He's pretty good. Can't really say too much more than that other than give him a listen. So
All right.
Yeah, you'll have to put a link up on social media so other people can hear it.
yeah,
He-
definitely.
He's playing Coachella tonight.
Is he?
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, and Coachella is
3
over
days.
3 separate weekends.
Yeah.
Yeah, not 3 weeks.
I was close.
You were close. You had some of it.
hmm
And Darsh, do you have any new discoveries?
Yeah, so we already talked about Tame Impala, but I specifically want to talk about their new single called Borderline. 1, because it's a fantastic track, and 2, because it's just very exciting that Tame Impala is coming out with new music. You know, it's been a 4-year gap between their last album, Currents, and this single dropping. You know, I hope they come out with a new album soon. It seems like they're probably going to. But stylistically, it's a lot like Currents in the sense that it is very synth heavy, which there's been kind of a split amongst the Tame Impala fan base because Currents was very synth heavy. And their album preceding that, Lonerism, was very guitar heavy. And that kind of caused a schism, if you will, amongst the fan base. But I'm pro synth sound. I think it's by far the more interesting of the two styles, at least the way that Tame Impala is executing it. And I can't wait to hear the new album. They recently played it on Saturday Night Live.
Yeah.
Um,
I watched them play Patience. I didn't get to see anything else, but I did watch them play Patience.
And the track itself is lyrically pretty interesting. It's really like introspective and like existential, and he talks about like how he's at like a crossroads in his life and like how he's on the borderline of like either making like a really good decision or making a terrible mistake, and how it's like he's completely frozen. It's cool, and it is produced very well. It sounds great.
Oh yeah.
The bass and the drums are outstanding, and the synth is like really ambient and atmospheric. It sounds really sharp and crisp. Badger, I bet you would really like it.
I'll check it out.
You should.
Definitely should.
So, honest question here. Am I the only one who has never heard of Tame Impala?
I never
Yep.
heard them.
Okay. Well, I was going to say, I feel like we've mentioned them a number of times now, and we should probably be getting paid for how many times we've talked about them. But
We're getting
They're,
paid by.
uh,
I'll have to check them out. Yeah, I'll have to
in
check
like
them out.
in the indie rock space, they're pretty much superstars at this point.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Does
I'll have to check them
does
out.
that mean hipster?
I guess.
The hot
I don't
sauce
really-
crowd?
I don't really like to
Use that word.
use that word just because it has negative connotations
Oh, does
to
it?
some. Yeah, but their music is just really unique, which I think which I like. You know, it's really fresh sounding, which I think rock music nowadays is really lacking.
Yeah.
That's an understatement. Yeah. It's mostly either pretty. It's like it goes back to the Greta Van Fleet thing when we were complaining about people going back for their music instead of trying to push forward and make something new.
Well, and that's not to say that Tame Impala is like doesn't have roots in the sounds of the 60s or the sounds of the 80s, because they definitely do. If
Oh,
you go
yeah.
back to their first record or their first major label release, they sound like the Beatles, but they really came into their own, and it's a great group. I promise
Who are the
I'll
Beatles?
talk about I promise I'll talk about a new group soon, but
Never heard
yeah,
of them.
go check it out.
Until their album drops, and then that's all we'll be able to talk about.
Yeah, I'm sure there will be a review of it when it comes out.
There may be. I think that would be
If
a good
it's
idea.
good,
hmm
I'm sure it will be great.
I mean,
4
even
years.
if it's bad, we'll give it a review.
All right. So now we are going to move on to the second part because I didn't do my homework and find any new music.
jerk.
We're gonna be moving on to the.
Come on,
What are we paying you
dude.
for?
Make
You got to read the notes, man.
My
Yeah.
voice. You're paying me for my voice.
make something up. Pretend that you just found out about the Flowbots. So
That would
what
be a
do you like about the Flowbots?
Straight up lie. We're going to move on to a series of unfortunate discoveries. And we're going to start out this time with Bullwinkle.
All right. So for my unfortunate discovery, I had Billie Eilish. Her album "When We Fall Asleep, Where'd We Go?" I discovered
yeah.
this the same way that I discovered Khalid. I was much more fortunate when I discovered Khalid over this garbage. It's kind of hard to be like really critical of it because she is only 17, but I don't know. It's
Connor was
horrible.
17.
I know, and he did much better than this. It's kind of that teenage angst mixed with modern goth pop, and I always assumed that Lorde had kind of cornered the market on the concept, but apparently there's still a lot of room for similar artists out there.
Oh yeah, there's tons of clones like Lorde. There's Lana Del Rey. They're a dime a dozen, dude. Also, is it Khalid or is it Khaled?
It's Khalid, and I had to Google it because I wasn't sure how to pronounce it.
Okay.
It's
side
Khalid.
note: if you watch the Hot Ones Hedonist challenge, he is, as far as I know, the only person to give up like without finishing the challenge.
Khalid is?
Yeah.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah.
That's funny.
He gets to like wing number 3, and then he's like, "I can't take this, homie. I can't do it. You're crazy." It's really funny. You should check it out.
Either way, back to this album. The pervasive, I don't know, musical style throughout it's not really music. It's more digitized noises and growling bass sound, accompanied by that really eerie vocal track. I did do a little research. I found almost no negative reviews on the album, which was blowing my mind. I would have assumed somebody out there had I don't know, could tell the truth about the album. But
I heard
apparently
Dave
not.
Grohl was pushing it.
It's horrible. I don't recommend it to anybody. And she's still young. I know she's got talent, and maybe she'll figure another way to use that. But this is just horrible.
I mean, 17. What was I doing when I was 17?
I know, that's what I was thinking too. It's like she's got a leg up on everyone, but man, this is just so horrible.
I played Carnegie Hall when I was 17.
I'll have to do myself a favor and not listen to it.
Yeah.
I kind of want to listen to it.
Should I play it right now?
You can.
I got through the first 2 tracks and was like, I can't do this. And then I had to come back because it made my unfortunate discovery this year and listen to the whole album.
Right.
You did?
It's all the same. It's horrible.
I absolutely refuse to even listen to one song off of mine because I don't listen to terrible music.
Oh, I wanted to give it a fair shot.
That's the difference between you and me.
Yeah.
That's why I never
make
listened
crazy
to the Beatles.
off the wall judgments.
Yeah. Never listened to one Beatles song because it's just I don't listen to terrible music.
I thought you didn't know who they were.
Who are they? Who are we talking about?
Get out of here.
Okay.
Okay, we're gonna move on.
I was waiting for
it. We're gonna move on. Badger, why don't you tell us your unfortunate discovery?
All right. So, the dude from Stained, he apparently has a career in country music now. His name is Aaron Lewis, and
Yeah.
apparently he's been making the country charts for a couple years. I don't know. Again, I haven't heard it because I don't
It's
listen
been
to
a
terrible
while
music.
since
Yeah.
I rode my tractor.
In case you guys don't know, yeah, that's probably what it is. Stained is known for their hits. Outside, it's been a while. They're like a quote alternative metal band, or
Yeah, they came out when like
Yeah.
POD and like
Limp
Linkin Park.
Bizkit.
Yeah.
Yeah, he played a lot with Fred Durst. That's how he got his fame. Was he sang Outside with Fred Durst? And so if that tells you everything you need to know, then
Yep.
we're kind of on the same page here. But he was ranked number 49 in the top 100 heavy metal vocalists by Hit Parader. So, fake news, because
Fake news.
that dude from Mike, what's that shitty band that you like? The guy who doesn't bathe? Godsmack.
Godsmack.
Yeah, Godsmack. He has a much better voice than this dude. Maybe if he sang some country music, I would check it out. But
I
it
don't
also
know. Have you heard Godsmack's
no.
most recent album?
No,
It's
I've heard
horrible.
I've heard like
It's the
2
worst
songs
thing I've ever
that were
heard.
on the radio when we were like in middle school. And other than that,
it's only gotten worse.
really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Is
Ouch.
that Down with the Sickness band still making music?
Disturbed?
Disturbed.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
are.
All right.
You haven't heard their cover of Sound of Silence?
No. Is it good?
Oh man, everyone's heard that cover. Come
It's
on.
awesome.
I live
It's
under a
actually
rock.
really not. It's not
It's
good at all.
awesome.
I'm rooming
It's
with Patrick
fantastic.
Starr. I'm under a rock. So yeah, dude from Godsmack, if you're listening and doing country music, hit us up.
Wow.
We'll feature you on the show.
Maybe
It'll do wonders for your career.
it will.
Yes.
You should hear what happened to Herbie Hancock after he was on our show. Now everybody knows his name for sure.
Wow, for sure. Darsh, do you have an unfortunate discovery?
I do, but I'm gonna need to hit this marker again before I do it. Okay. So my unfortunate discovery was I watched that new rockumentary called The Dirt about Motley Crue. And I'm going to be honest, I had optimistically high hopes going into it. Like, I really wanted to like it. And there were parts that I really did like. And I'll talk about that in a second. But I can't stress enough how corny it was, and like how Motley Crue is a band that they have this like really shallow, terrible image associated with them. They're like if Guns N' Roses actually had no talent.
And we're just sexual predators.
Yes.
Wow.
And I kind of lost my train of thought, but it's okay. It's not you. It's the markers. But the rockumentary makes, doesn't change that opinion at all. And I don't know what I was expecting. I thought maybe like there would be a kind of cool, story. They have this reputation of being the hardest partiers of all time.
Yeah, sex, drugs, and rock and roll.
I think there's the rockumentary is based off of a book of the same name. And it just was so corny that I couldn't really get into it. Like, there were so many cringy moments that it was unsettling. That being said, there were some interesting moments with Nikki Sixx, the bass player and kind of the main character. He went through like a crazy heroin phase, and there's a far more interesting book called The Heroin Diaries, which he has written. And they basically just touch upon his experiences. I'm not advocating or idolizing heroin use, but as an artist, how it like affected him and like how it affected his life. So, but they didn't really go into that. They basically were like, "Oh, look how crazy and wild Tommy Lee was, and like, look how much of an asshole Vince Neil is, and he slept with everybody's girlfriends, and it was just not flattering. Like, I don't think, especially our generation, I don't think we care about those things.
We
feel like-
care about Big Marker.
Yeah, Big Marker, it's in our heads, but
It's his.
I would skip it. That's my take. I would skip it.
Giving
Motley
it a
Crue.
skip. Wow.
Motley
Yeah.
Crue lived underneath my parents' condo when I was in the womb, so I got some apparent contact highs. I think they context high. One of those.
Oh,
things.
a context high.
Yeah. So
there was another scene that I liked is they were like outside by the pool with like Ozzy Osbourne, and the guy that they got to play like 80s Ozzy Osbourne, it looked just like him. It was super entertaining. But yeah,
when did we get
Yeah,
a dog?
in general, not so great.
Yeah, just go on YouTube and look up the Ozzy Osbourne scene. I'm sure it'll be there.
Yeah.
And that's all you need to know.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And again, I didn't do my homework, so I don't have any
Come
unfortunate
on.
discoveries.
You had this
Boom.
whole time to make something up.
Oh, I did. Okay, I do have one.
All
it was
right.
the invention of
That was like 6 years ago, dude. That
I-
was
I
unfortunate,
never-
though.
It was very unfortunate.
Don't you just want to talk about the Flowbots?
I mean, do you want to talk about the Flowbots?
I
'Cause the
do.
Flowbots
Did you
are
guys hear
awesome.
they released an album last year, and it's like really, really good. You guys should check it out. So I did.
I haven't heard it.
You should. The Flowbots' first album is like one of the best albums of the 2000s, and maybe we'll feature it someday soon. The
Fight with Tools.
Fight with Tools, yeah.
Yeah, it's
That was a
great
great
fucking album.
Great album. So yeah, the Flowbots. That's the moral of the story here.
Yeah, listen to
Okay.
the Flowbots.
All
So
right.
we don't have any more of those things. I did want to mention that our survey on the Facebook ended about whether we support.
the Facebook.
Yeah,
Are
That's
you like 50 years old?
You know the Facebook.
the Facebook thing. I don't know what it is.
Was that Herbie Hancock?
I think it.
Oh, I
Is
played
he
the
back?
piano.
Now he's never gonna come back on the show, dude. But
Oh.
so yeah, on Facebook, apparently the post was about Darsh's Grind My Gears a couple weeks ago when we talked about advertising, music and advertising, and
Right.
overwhelmingly everybody said to get that bread. So
Get that
yeah.
bread.
get that bread. And
Well-
recently I heard on a bunch of the ads that come up on my streaming stuff, they've been playing that Blame It On My ADD song. And that's like the one AWOL Nation song like I really like. They have a whole like remix album of it with Dan the Automator and a bunch of other people. Unlimited Gravity did a great cover of it or remix. And I still like the song even though they got that bread. So
They got that bread. Yeah.
Yeah. So there were. I can't say it's an overwhelming
yeah, it
choice
was.
because there were only 7 total votes.
Yeah, that's
The
a
masses
huge
have
amount.
spoken, Bullwinkle.
Exactly.
But yeah, 71% make that bread and 29% said sellouts.
Yeah, and that was all Darsh, just multiple
Yeah.
accounts.
Yeah.
He is a Russian troll of our organization.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
can't argue with that.
Nope.
One thing I did want to ask you guys about is how do you guys listen to music? And what I mean by that is what do you guys use like a streaming platform? If so, which platform?
My
Um,
ears.
Headphones.
Audio
not helpful.
waves. They travel through the
Um,
air from vibrating speakers and something about a diaphragm.
I usually use some
Gross.
sort of streaming platform, a la Spotify or Pandora.
I only use Google Play Music. I have a family account on there, so 7 people for $14 a month. So send us money, Google. You get unlimited access to that and YouTube, so it's like a double whammy. Google Play.
So
Yeah, I use-
wait, you have access. I'm sorry to cut you off.
Oh,
You
commercial
have-
free YouTube, and
it's not
also
YouTube Red.
yeah, no, it is YouTube Red.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
I
and
also have commercial for YouTube though.
yeah, ad
Yeah.
blockers.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm telling
Yes.
Google, they're gonna
Google
pay me
can
money to tell
They can
on
suck
you.
it.
No, they do no evil. That's their MO.
Oh,
Yeah,
is it?
It is,
YouTube has
yeah.
made it unbearable to listen to music without that, like, premium subscription or whatever that is.
Right.
Mhm.
Because that's what I used to use all the time, and now you just can't do it. It's horrible.
Yeah, for one
Yeah,
device,
every
it's only
song.
like
Ugh.
$7.99, but it's definitely
Right.
worth it. And you can use it on unlimited devices when you log in with your Google account. So like
Interesting.
desktop or any of the other jaunts that you may jaunt with.
Nice.
With every jaunt you jaunt.
So I
Every
use
jaunt you
Spotify,
jaunt.
and I pay for a Spotify subscription, and with that subscription, I get a Hulu subscription. That's sort of a new
So
thing.
you're paying for ads on Hulu.
Like implicitly, I guess, because I'm paying for Spotify.
That's why it's annoying.
I mean, I guess, but that's always kind of been Hulu's thing. I know you can pay to be ad free, but it's like $14 extra or something, or it's $14 total, I think.
And how much is
but-
Spotify?
Spotify, I haven't checked in a while, to be honest.
It's
I
probably
think
$18 a month.
no,
No.
it's not. No way.
Price is
Let's
right.
do-
Everybody have their lower.
It is $9.99 a month.
See,
What do you mean, see? You were off by half.
Yeah, it's only.
I was
it's
the only one
double.
that guessed, so I won all the money because nobody had a lower thing. Price is right rules. Go back and listen to the tape.
Yes, premium Spotify is $9.99 a month, and with it you get a limited ad Hulu subscription.
And we all use Tidal, right?
Tidal, Tidal.
No. However
No?
Jay-Z spells it.
The way
Oh,
that
yes.
Dar spelled it.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Learn to spell, man. We've been through this with you and your spelling mistakes.
I know, but I just use Grammarly and they make me spell favorite wrong. They add a U.
But I was thinking about these streaming platforms, and I don't think that, with the exception of vinyl, we're ever going to go. I can't imagine any other distribution system or even owning my digital music. Like, I know I have a hard drive around here somewhere filled with digital music, and I'm sure that some people prefer to have digital copies, but nowadays, I don't keep any digital music of my own. And I was wondering what your guys' take was on that.
Right. So I also have a hard drive full of music, and I do not listen to it because it's just so clunky. And
Right. Yeah.
But I do think, as a audio engineer, that quality could be much better on a lot of these streaming platforms. Tidal is a good one. for audio clarity and their sizes. Google Play has a high. You can set it to high quality. So does Spotify have that?
I don't know. I
Right.
know it's, they advertise as high quality,
Yeah.
as default, but
But if you're
be honest-
listening from your phone, then quality's not going to like. I mean, just phone speakers or computer speakers can't replicate like if even earbuds can make it
well,
better.
true, and that's why I think the vinyl industry has taken off the way that it has, because
right, there's no
when
comparison.
I want that high quality experience, that's what I turn to.
Turntable
but-
too.
Yes. So many puns, but when I want that high quality experience, I will go to my vinyls and I'll listen to my vinyls.
You'll dig the crate.
Yeah, I don't even know if it's really possible for me to get that experience from digital media anymore. I mean, I'm sure there's higher quality digital media, but there are limits.
Yeah,
and maybe
there are.
maybe you can
And-
shed some light on this, Jeff, but
My name's not Jeff.
maybe you can shed some light on this, Badger.
Yeah.
But listening to vinyl captures the entire wavelength, whereas digital media will
It's always
no matter
compressed to a limit.
it's always compressed somehow.
Right, because just to have a database full of WAV files would be, say, instead of an MP3, which the quality suffers a lot from just going to MP3 at 320. But if you go down to 128, it's just horrible sounding. And that is what you get from most streaming services. So
when you go down to 128, what?
The bit.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah. So it's just the quality is horrible for most of it. But if you get the high quality and then you have a good quality speakers, like some studio monitors, then you can get some good clear sounding music. But if you get the actual WAV files, like, so if you say you buy a digital CD from iTunes or something like that, if you did that, then you would get the high quality CD quality, which is not quite as good as vinyl, but it's so much better than any other digital platform that you can get, because it's basically WAV files.
So is there something to be said for WAV file high quality digital? Like, is that something that I should start seeking out as opposed to my regular Spotify playlists?
Well, it's up to you. If you don't mind like the lesser quality for the convenience, like I generally just use my Google, so I find it does the trick even when listening out of phone speakers or a computer speaker. It does most things, but you do, like, say if I play it in my car over the good stereo system in my car, you can hear the difference if you have it downloaded, because on Google Play you can pin it to your phone so that it is downloaded onto your phone. If you download the high quality one, you can hear the difference between if you're streaming off Wi-Fi or 4G or whatever it is, compared to a high quality stored file. But if you pop in the CD, then it's going to be completely different.
Dude, I haven't popped in a CD in like 10 years. Come on.
What about the cassette?
I used to rock cassettes back in my
were they
Ford
orange
Explorer.
cassette tapes? Timmy, Tommy, and Chucky?
No. Okay, Chance, but
thanks for saying rapper.
I love that song, but
Me too.
yeah,
That's
I actually
jam. Love that mix.
That's my jam. That's my jam. That's
Very
my jam.
nice.
That's my jam. Ow.
So I have another question for you. For that, I was wondering about this yesterday when I was watching the game. That's Game of Thrones, not a sports reference. But the episode was coming up, and they were I saw this thing about the it was like Dolby Digital 5-1, or maybe it was 7-1. And I was gonna ask you what really that means and what that means for the sound editors of a show, any show, but like Game of Thrones, for example.
Basically, Dolby Digital has this new setup, which is really cool. My one of my professors has it. It has a speaker system in the ceiling that so it's 7.1, you said, right?
Yeah.
So that means there's 7 basically like speakers, right? So 5.1 means it has 5 speakers worth of different panning, basically. So that a stereo field has the center, the left and right, and then a back left and right. So that's the 5,
So
and then also
that-
the sub.
does that mean
It's
that
the Atmos. Sorry.
does that mean that so I'm watching Game of Thrones, right?
Right.
And let's say I have all the speakers in the world, you know, and they're all over the room. And
Well, there's certain
does
speakers for this Atmos, but yeah, keep going.
does that mean that there are 7 possible sources of audio, and like different sounds that might be going on?
So yes,
Okay.
have you ever watched the movie at my parents' house with their surround sounds? They
Yes,
have
I have.
Yeah.
they have 7.1, but it's not the Atmos. So what it is you know the 2 big speakers in the back and the other things, but it creates it so that when you're panning something out in the field, you can have it go closer to one of those speakers. So they always have bleed from the other ones, but it's basically if a plane is coming from the back right, then it's going to sound like it's coming from the back right. It's not going to have any audio coming from the left. And so what the Atmos has is 3 on each side of the ceiling. So 2 behind the listener, 2 big ones that so they pan down at the listener's back of their head, and then 2 on like on each side of where the couch is, and then 2 about wall height, so about head height on the walls, left and right, and then 2 at the front of the TV. Actually 3. One's a center and 2 on the side. So all those different dimensions worth of sound, say in Game of Thrones, when like I assume something fantasy comes through the back, and then something else comes from the other side. You'll hear it all coming from the other end. So yeah, basically, it would make it a more like you're there in the movie.
So, do you think that the sound engineers for Game of Thrones are?
It's a pain in the ass.
Yeah, but I imagine it's a from an artistic perspective and like a craftsman perspective as well. It allows them to do a lot of things that maybe the average listener isn't aware of.
Yes.
Consciously, but it enhances the cinematic experience.
Yeah, and so for the sounds engineer, they're gonna have to have one team do an Atmos, a 7.1, one team do a 5.1, and one team do a stereo mix. And so they're gonna have to have all these different layers. Now, some aspects will be the same generally, but each one of those, but it's such a more immersive feeling. If you go to one of these, I don't know if they even have them anymore, but like the Tweeter Zone or whatever, those high quality stereo shops, and sit down and listen to it, you'll feel it. But what's really cool is video game designers are now working in Atmos.
Oh,
and
right,
so
yeah.
all your high quality immersive video games, that just really pushes the limits of what you can feel like you're in the game, basically.
So I was formerly a huge World of Warcraft player, but I would notice that as far as sound in the game and the music in the game is incredible. It's very good. But the sound is also very good. You know, there's lots of ambient sounds and sound effects, and but when you can really sense that you are actually kind of in the world, and the sound makes it very immersive. And when you sort of turn your character and you pan the camera, you can sort of hear the sounds moving across your field of like audio
Right.
perception. Like, it'll move from left to right as you do. Or
Yeah.
And is that kind of the same technology?
So that is, for the most part, digitally, it's a 3D sound, so environment. So that is similar, but what that is there is a target basically. So say in not Lord of the Rings, World of Warcraft, say that you're going to be approaching this temple, and they have the different bad guys around, and when you're going towards it,
they're called the Horde.
Yeah, those guys.
Go on.
They basically, that is a think of like the Doppler system. That is like a target, and then there's a big ring around it. And so as you enter that ring, then you trigger the sound to start. And then so when you go left, you're going around that ring, and that ring is what is the 3D area. So when you get closer, it's going to get louder, and when you get farther away, it'll get quieter. When you go to the right, it's going to be attenuating from your right or the left to make it sound louder on your right. So there's much more technical ways of saying that, but basically,
no, I get the gist of it. It sounds like it takes a lot of computing power to pull something like that off, though.
So it does. That's why there's midware. So the midware is like WY, so Wise, or there's other basically midware. So they hold all the audio files. They hold all this programming of the different pannings, the different mixing. There's whole mixing things on there with different plugins, and you can mix everything, do it live while you're in the game. But basically, the coding has to reference this, so it's not like the it's really technical, but basically
I was gonna say you kind of lost me.
Yeah.
But,
so basically,
the answer to my question is yes.
Yes, it does. You have to, when you're allocating amounts of code and amount of space on the RAM for the game, then you have to allocate enough for all the sound that you want. So if you want 3D sounds, you need to allocate more than if you want 2D pan, which would just be left right. But it's so much more powerful. Now you use both always. Like, so torches are going to be 2D because they're like steady next to each other, like if you're going in like a tunnel. But the other, like the creatures, are going to be 3D pans. So it's a lot of memory. But the like Unity per se, the game engine, that's not storing any of the actual sound files or any of the big files. That is in the midware.
Cool. Well, that was a very long-winded explanation, but I liked where it went.
What were we talking about?
We were talking about Game of Thrones.
Okay.
And then, so to take advantage of 7-1 or 5-1,
you need to shell out $1,694 if you get it from this place, but it's usually $3,600.
So let me ask you, my headphones, my Corsair headphones, which cost $80,
right?
They support 5.1.
Yes.
So I'm guessing there's some kind of like digital emulation of this 5-1 or 7-1, because obviously my headphones
3D pan.
Yeah, it only has 2 speakers, but it's somehow mimicking. No,
if you rip open those insides and you look.
All right, let me do it right now.
I bet you that there's more than 2 speakers.
Okay.
But
Well, I'll
but
take
even
your
if
word
there
for it.
are, there's usually another sub one on there as well. So because you're gonna get a subwoofer with that 5.1.
Right.
So
Oh, cool.
my headphones
very,
do the
very
same thing.
educational.
But if you listen to it through the Atmos compared to the speakers, or even just a 5.1 receiver that has the Dolby Digital or DTS, then you're going to get so much better quality. Like, it's not going to be loud and in your face as much as headphones are, because the sound waves are actually traveling further through space, if that makes sense.
Whoa, man.
Okay.
Trump University.
And on that note, we are going to end our episode after that, as Darsh called it, long-winded explanation.
I got a
liked it.
falafel the other day.
It was very. Oh, did you get a falafel?
I did.
Was it good?
Yeah, it was good. It was all right.
It was all right. Oh, that's sad.
Yeah, it
I
wasn't
got
from the food truck.
I got a cheeseburger waffle.
Thought it was a cheesesteak waffle.
Oh, yes, you're right. Cheesesteak waffle. It was delicious. I
Yeah.
would easily get it again.
You would have to find that food truck. I don't know how easily it will be.
I could make cheesesteak waffles.
Yeah, you just get a waffle maker and then waffle mix and then cheesesteak mix from the 5 and dime, and then
Mhm.
you just.
It's been a long time since you've eaten meat. I'll excuse you.
It's not made out of powder.
No.
16 years this month. But
Wow.
anyway,
Congratulations.
yeah, congratulations,
yeah.
your mom. All right, so thanks, guys. Bullwinkle, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm just listening.
Did you learn anything?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
You can't teach an old Bullwinkle new tricks.
All right, folks. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.
12 Bar News Podcast was recorded at 12 Years Dungeon Studios in Trenton, New Jersey. The sound engineer Jeff Damon, webmaster Daniel Marshall, resident Iowan Mike Stanley, and your host/delinquent Patrick Stofflet. Thanks for tuning in.
12 years dungeon!